Great. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Carrie. Thanks for joining. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm assuming you can see me, but let me know if you can hear me properly. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Yep, sounds great. Perfect. Thank you for joining. We'll give it a minute or two to allow everybody who wants to join live, and then we'll get started. It's great to have you here. Hi, Diane. Welcome. I hope you're comfy. You have something to drink. You're ready to absorb. All right. Happy this is being recorded. Yep. I am recording it. I will share it till probably the end of the week because, the thing with the webinars is if we don't give ourselves a time frame to watch, we're never going to watch. So I will record it and share it, but let's get started. Whomever joins, but I want to start on time and finish on time. So we'll get ready. Okay, so welcome everybody to Mastering Sustainable Growth, Scaling Your Business with Passion and Balance. I really appreciate that you took the time out of your busy schedule and you're watching it live or you watch the recording and you're spending this time with me. So let's go through the agenda to let you know what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to introduce myself in just a second, especially for those of you who don't know me. We will talk about misconceptions that many business owners have about scaling and what I've seen out there and so on. And then we will talk about the 5 scaling foundations, what they are, and I'll go in detail in every one of them, and 3 mindsets that are sort of required from you as the leader of your business, as a CEO, to incorporate and use the foundation successfully. Throughout that, I will share case studies. So they won't be like a 5th point, but after certain segment, I will share case studies just to illustrate how those foundations and mindset work and what kind of results you can create in your business. And then for those of you who want to take this work deeper and get my help into scaling your business without overwhelm, without overworking, and really dialing onto it, I'll talk to about how to work with me. And then we'll have, as usual, Q&A. I will be happy to answer any questions that you might have about anything that we talked about. Okay? Sounds good? Perfect. Now, as I said, I will share the recording with all the registrants till the end of the week. Now you can take screenshots of these slides, so you don't have to jot down everything I wrote there, and it will be easier for you to focus. But without further ado, let's get started. Let me introduce myself. My name is Maggie Perrotin. I'm a business and leadership coach. I work with mainly service-based business owners, really help them scale their business while creating work-life harmony, work-life balance. And what brought me to business coaching is really my love for business. I think it's fun and creative, and it can be really fulfilling, as well as love for coaching, which I developed as a corporate leader of many, many years. And the unique thing about my approach to coaching is that I have a really holistic approach to it, and that's based on my experience in many business domains. Like throughout my career, I've done, promotion and sales and marketing, business development. I've done people leadership. That's again how I developed a love for coaching. I've done operational excellence, customer service, project management, business intelligence. So looking at data, financial and operational, and taking some information out of there, making more strategic decisions, process improvement. You kind of name it, I've done it. So that allows me, when I work with my clients, to look very holistically in the business and really see what's working and not, what could work, how one thing affects the other. And therefore that also informs today's session. Okay. So let's get going then and start with some misconceptions. Okay. So current situation, you might be finding yourself and your business in this situation, maybe you plateaued at certain level, and you might be thinking, okay, it might be because of the economy, or I've done it for so long and the amount of clients kind of ran out, or whatever the case might be. Maybe your revenue went down in comparison to best times. And again, your brain might be offering, oh, this is because of recession or whatever other thing is happening in the industry. Or maybe you're growing, but at the price of overworking and exhaustion, where you really feel like the days in the business run you, you're into chaos, like million things are pooling into your attention, and you feel tired. Like everything seems hard and kind of uphill battle, rather than you maybe enjoying your business and growing and having fun while doing it. So now, what do you want? And I believe we all want it when we start a business as entrepreneurs, right? Hardly anybody starts a business to be a charitable institution or to work so hard that they can't have any personal life, right? We start a business because we want it to be profitable, my is profitable, and to keep growing, to keep scaling, helping more people with whatever our genius zone is, right? We want to run a business that overall it feels fun and it's fulfilling and easy. And I'm not saying that has to be 100% of the time, otherwise nothing is working or it's not right. Yes, there will be times where we feel it's harder when we're solving a problem and it's not, going as well as we thought. But when you zoom out and you look at, okay, this is how I'm running my business, you want to have that feeling of, actually, I feel fulfilled. And even if there's times when I work hard, it's work that gives me energy, that energizes, that doesn't drain me, right? Now, you also want to have enough rest and ability to recharge. So then you can lead personal life that feels like there's balance or harmony between them. And that does mean different things for everybody. But we don't want to feel like we're running a business, we're working, 24/7, or at least it feels like it, and we're missing out on things that are important to us in a personal life. And then, of course, we want to be passionate and we want to have that sense of purpose, that sense of fulfillment. Okay. Now, what many people think is required to achieve success in business is this: long hours of tiring work and hard work, meaning draining work. Meaning, I think that working hard, or people think that working hard means they're drained at the end of the day, they have no energy, they feel depleted rather than filled. Okay. Also, what people think is that means being always on. Okay, if I scale or if I keep scaling, that just means I will be always on and I will never be able to rest and I'll never be able to, spend time with friends or family or whatever else is important to me. Also, what people think is that unless I hustle, I get results. And if I don't, no results, right? So that hustle mentality is the predominant belief about growing a successful business. And then sometimes that comes along with okay, because I need to hustle, therefore I need to try all the things available out there, all the fads, all the secrets, and there must be something that I'm missing. Therefore, I don't want to miss out and I have to try everything, right? Which that usually sends people into overwhelm, overwork, very often spreading themselves too thin, starting too many things, never finishing it, and therefore slowing down the growth. Okay. So I have a question for you. And think about it this: is this really what's required to scale a business? Or because we believe that, does it lead to your current situation, right? Because you have those beliefs and that's how you know, interpret, or the paradigms you believe, is that directing your brain towards seeing opportunities and things that just confirm it, right? Because our brain hates cognitive dissonance, meaning believing one thing and seeing in the world proof to the opposite. So it doesn't like that. So it will always show us proof to the things we believe. So when you think about that, how it works is that our current way of thinking, how we perceive things, what we think about, what we believe, ultimately leads to our current way of operating, meaning how we feel about things, the decisions we make, and what actions result from those decisions. And of course, current way of operating will lead to our current results. Okay. So in order to change anything in your business, in order to improve or to get some new results, there is always a necessity of adopting some new way of thinking. It doesn't mean you need to change completely everything you believe in or entire philosophy, but you need to be open to maybe there are better ways of doing something. Maybe there are better approaches that I've never considered before because I didn't open my mind to it, right? So when you open to that, then your brain will start looking for those things, which then can lead to new ways of operating and therefore different and improved results. And that's just a premise for you to open your mind to what I'm going to share with you going forward. Okay. So here is the scaling framework in us overall, and I'll go through it, but then we'll go through it in detail. Okay. So the first part of it is acknowledging that you are the leader of the business, and ultimately everything starts with you as the CEO. And whether you're an individual running a business on your own, or whether you have a team, how you think about your business leads the decisions you make, the people you hire, the people you ask for help, the actions you take, and so on. So it always starts with you. Now, the second part to scaling is having a strategy. Without the strategy, without the plan, in theory, how you're going to win, you're really putting yourself in the line of fire and chaos and always reacting. And as I said, we'll talk about it in detail in a second. Then the third part is excellent and effective execution. So it's not enough just to have a vision and then the strategy of how am I going to achieve that vision. Without execution, without taking steps towards it, nothing will happen. And as a leader of the business, you got to have a bit of both skills. So not only just have a vision, but also know how to execute. And when you have a team, at least know how to lead your team into execution and give them enough information, give them enough support, whatever that means for you. Okay. The fourth part is simple and adequate business structure, meaning even if you gain so much momentum and so much demand to your business where the clients are, coming through your doors and they're like, knocking, and there's so many that you're astounded yourself. If your business cannot welcome them and deliver quality service or quality products at the same level like before, all that hard work you did up front can collapse. Because if the client are not served properly, if your business structure is not able to handle them, they're going to leave. They're going to be not happy. You might miss out on some opportunities. If you have a team, people might leave because they will be, they will be working too hard, too much. How I know, I definitely lived that in my corporate career. I burned out for this very reason. So your structure has to be simple, but ready also to receive all the additional clients you will get as you scale. And then continuous improvement. Okay, so continuously looking at how to do things better. Now, the three mindsets that underpin that are required for that, for those foundations to work is proactive mindset, growth mindset, and art of simple. So keeping things simple. And now let's get into details. All right. So this works definitely. And you can create the business and the life you want. And then here's how. Okay. Number one, you are the leader of your business and everything starts with you, right? So I truly believe that in order for our business to grow, we need to grow first. So if you think about up leveling your business in terms of the scale or the reach, and that means, the more clients I help, the more revenue, the more income comes my way. In order for me to achieve the next level of income, I need to grow as a CEO, right? I need to open up to new perspectives, maybe develop some skills, maybe hire people, maybe do changes in my structure, but I need to see it. So I need to grow. And as I grow on my journey, then my business goes with me. Now, what I want to say is that journey here is not just a perfect straight line, right? There is a process to creating new results, because usually with that comes, a theory that I need to test. And there's some parts of it that don't work that I need to tweak. There is also skill sets that I need to develop, or my team needs to develop or hone or master even better. That again, nothing happens in just one try. So there is a journey to it. And our brain sometimes forgets that process takes time, that the first time we try something doesn't always create the exact results we wanted, right? The best way to describe it is when you have a recipe for cooking something or baking something, which is your strategy. And if you've never done that dish, if you've never done that type of cake, it might take you a few tries following the recipe to come out on the other end with the result of the ideal cake or ideal dish, just like on the picture, right? Because you might miss something, you don't know exactly how to do it, you misstepped, or maybe you just need better skills. And it's the same in sports and athletes. When athletes practice and in order to win the games, tournaments, or whatever, when they start at the basic level, it's not like they just try once and they win everything, right? There's multiple tries, multiple practices that they need to go through to hone their skills. The third part of it, of you as a leader, is that you're a human being. And when you don't operate at the highest level as a human being, you can't give your best to your business. So the foundational part of it is having enough rest and recharge and treating it as a must, as kind of like duty as a CEO, rather than reward, right? Again, there's a lot of misconceptions or that hustle mentality, or like, I will rest when I die, or I will rest, resting is considered lazy, and being busy is like a badge of honor. But ultimately, when we work on overdrive, when we work too much, we actually shut down our access to the executive brain, to thinking creatively, to come up with strategic, great solutions in our business, because we operate more on survival mode. Okay. Now, there's also parts of it that, I usually don't go into because I'm not a health coach, but, nutrition and being active and all those things come into play. But I definitely wanted to talk about rest and recharge because we do talk about running your business with, having some work-life balance. Part of it is I cannot be my best for my business. I cannot be my best for my team, for my clients, and my family if I'm exhausted all the time. Okay. Point number 2 is strategy before action. So what's strategy? First, let's talk about that first. Strategy is really a number of creative ideas, decisions of how you're going to win in the market, how you're going to attract your ideal clients you want to work with and, stand out from the competition. So it's a theory. And based on that, you make decisions as what you're going to do, how you're going to go about it. What it allows you to do, taking time to create strategy, it allows you to figure out, how am I going to stand out? We all have competitions. We all in our respective industry have others who are doing similar things. So how do I find my ideal clients, but also how do I show them that I'm the best person to help them achieve their goals or solve their problems or whatever it is? When you take time to create a strategy, you think ahead far enough to allow you to prevent and avoid some unnecessary roadblocks. So your brain goes into more creative, solution-based mode, not a day-to-day operating mode. And you give it enough space to think, okay, well, if I do this, this might happen, or this might happen. What about this? And so on. So there are certain things you can prepare of, you can get ahead of, or you can prevent. You want to be able to prevent every challenge imaginable under the sun, right? Because strategy is the theory. So as we put it in practice, then certain things will come out. But at least you're preventing a bunch of them. So then that road of testing your theory and so on is much more fun. It's easier and it's not as tiring. So through that also, strategy saves you time and speeds up your results, right? When we make certain logical decisions about our business, based on our vision, mission, values, who is our clients, what we're trying to achieve, how we're helping them, you can speed up. So then when you take your actions, they are more powerful. They make more impact in your business. Okay. And last thing, it keeps you focused, constrained. And through that, you are also confident in your decisions because you know how you made them, you know why you made them, you anchored it in some good business foundation, so you don't question yourself as often. Okay. So you just focus on implementation. Okay. So now proactive mindset. What is it and why it's required? Proactive mindset gives you clarity on direction. So proactive mindset allows you to sort of hold balance and think about what you want to achieve long-term in relation to your short-term needs and what you're doing short-term. It allows you to assess both. Okay, if I make this decision or take this action, how is this going to affect me long-term and short-term? And sometimes it doesn't mean that you only take actions that are beneficial only long-term. Sometimes we need to take, so-called like temporary measures to address certain things short-term, but at least you're aware of it, right? You're aware when you take actions that are just for short-term benefits, when they're actions that are just for long-term, or when they're both, where it's like, if I do this, it's going to help me now and it's going to help me later, right? Also, proactive mindset allows you to set goals and know where you're going and therefore create plans, right? Think ahead, plan, understand that that's important. And it also allows you to identify what's required. So if I know where I'm going, I know, I have a theory how I get there, then I can also figure out what do I need to implement that theory. Is it certain resources? Is it help with, resources in terms of people, processes, or tools or systems? Is it certain skills that I need? Is it I have to create time? whatever it is, I can think of that, right? So I'm not implementing a plan without really realizing what's required for it. Proactive mindset also responds, not reacts. So again, if there's things that happen unexpectedly, which is normal in business, you don't respond out of fear, out of surprise, but it allows you to pause, even if it's for a second. Okay, what's the best way to address this? Okay. Proactive mindset also allows you to have courage to implement certain things and do certain things, even if they're scary, even if they're uncomfortable, even if, they seem like this huge monumental task, because you can see the long-term benefits. You're able to imagine that, and therefore you're able to lean into the discomfort and, the perceived hardness of whatever it takes. So what I also say that when you have proactive mindset and you do like powerful actions, then even if certain work you do is hard, it feels fulfilling. So there's a difference between, going to the end of the day or end of the week and being physically tired because you worked hard, you work with some intensity and you were really engaged in your business. But when you see how much you've accomplished and what it leads to, and you see like the benefits of that work, it feels fulfilling. It energizes you rather than doing hard work and hustle, but then feeling like you're never doing enough, like you're tired, that, feeling that all those actions that I'm taking are not creating any results. So here is the first case study, how it works in theory. So one of my clients, therapy practice, an owner of a therapy practice, when she came to me, she felt overwhelmed and overworked. Her business was growing. But at the same time, she definitely had the proactive mindset thinking like, okay, if I want to grow my business because I see there's a need for my services, I see I can impact so many people with my help, right? I can help so many people in my community and around. But what I'm scared of, and in her case, like what she was scared is just really growing her team, because there's only so much you can, or so many people you can help when you are the therapist delivering the practice. So she knew, okay, I need to scale my team in order to accept all those clients that were coming. So she recognized that, okay, part of my growth is leadership skills. Okay. So when she came for me to work with me, we sort of followed what I'm teaching you, but of course we brought it down to very details. We had, a year to work together to figure out every detail of how that translated to her in terms of her growth as a CEO, in terms of the strategy for her business, in terms of execution and preparing her business structure, and then continuous improvement, right? So within a year, the results that she created was she doubled her revenue, and she also created a business structure that allowed her to say yes to the opportunity to scale even more over to what she was planning for that year. And I always think like if that opportunity came to her a year before, she would have to say no, because she was so overwhelmed that there was no way she could accommodate for it. But the opportunity came when she was ready, when her processes and business was sort of ready. Yes, we got this. We can take on all these clients, and, they're not going to wait forever, and they're going to receive amazing service and not as struggling to figure out how we're going to, accommodate that, right? Her team grew from 5 to 18. And then she also started working less. Okay. She created time for rest and recharge. She created time to spend some quality time with her husband and teenage kids. So as you can see, this is possible. Okay. Let's keep going. So now the third part is excellent and effective execution. So what do I mean by that? Excellent, I always compare excellence to perfectionism. Excellence, it's about doing the best you can and creating progress in your business with what you have, the resources you have, the skills you have, the knowledge you have, the money, the people, all of that. And when you think about excellence, it's sort of inner focus. It's just we want to do the best we can. And it's growth oriented, meaning once I know better, I have more resources, I have, different ideas because I've grown, I will do better then. I'm always striving to do my best. Whereas perfectionism, it's more outer focus. It's like, I don't want to make a mistake, or God forbid my team makes a mistake, because what other people will think of us, of our company, of me, right? So when we focus on others, what they think, how they perceive this, and so on, it gets us into perfectionism. But perfectionism prevents growth, because then it creates that fear of making a mistake. It creates this compulsion to perfect things, to take too long, to procrastinate and indecision. Okay. Then what does effective mean? So effective execution does not mean, what I didn't put here is efficient execution. There is this famous quote, I think it's Peter Drucker who said that, and I'm going to paraphrase, is that there's nothing more useless than doing efficiently things that shouldn't be done at all, right? What you want to avoid is doing things, even if they're productive and efficiently, things that you shouldn't be doing, or your team doing things that shouldn't be done. So effective execution means it's focused on the most important things. Therefore, to focus on most important things, you need to keep things simple. Have an execution plan that's simple, okay? And yes, we want things to be streamlined. We don't want to do things manually when they can be automated. We don't want to do things twice or having two different people doing the same thing. So we want to streamline, but we only streamline after we've decided what's the most important and simplified it to the bare bones necessary to execute the plan, to deliver the service, to deliver to the customers at the highest level. Okay. So now the mindset that requires, and they're all required, they're all kind of working together, right? It's not separated. I just separated it just for the, for the purposes of this class and to showcase what I mean. But what's required is having growth mindset. So there's a few components to it. The first one is, when I have a growth mindset, I have a humble confidence about my current abilities as a CEO and as my business, as to what we have, what we know, and what we created with it. But I also have humility to acknowledge that in order to grow, we will need other things, or I will need other things. I will need to learn certain things. I will need to, expand. I will need to overcome maybe my, resistance to hiring, or whatever the case might be, right? So every stage of your business will require something else. At some point, you might need leadership skills. In the beginning, it might be, honing marketing and sales skills. And even if sometimes you've done marketing and sales, if you're in a new industry now, that might be a little bit different. Just like for me, I've done some sales and business development, but when I started my business, I never done social media marketing, or I've never sold things like coaching, which is very intangible, which is selling of that is different than selling tangible products or even tangible services, right? So being able to know that is key, and it's definitely showing you have a growth mindset, okay? Growth mindset also treats mistakes and challenges and failures are just part of the journey, because it's normal, right? When we have a theory that we want to implement, and as we implement, we're also honing certain skills, it's normal that things will not go exactly as we planned. Then there will be things that we'll need to tweak, improve. There will be failures that will happen. So having growth mindset just allows you to say, hey, it's normal. Okay. I'm not learning if everything goes perfect. That means I'm not growing enough. right? And then what also it allows you to do is to learn from the past and sort of keep going, not get stuck in the past. So as challenges might be happening, sometimes business owners get stuck and either they're scared to go forward or they beat themselves up, or if they have a team, they kind of like, make it known that they're not happy about it and kind of drag things on rather than just learning and moving on. I had a mentor in my corporate days that always said, be hard on the problem and soft on the people, right? And that applies to you as the solopreneur or you as a leader. When you have amazing people working for you, even if you're that person, you want to be soft on them, meaning understanding, compassionate that mistakes happen, challenges happen, but you want to be hard on the problem to figure out, okay, why did it happen? What can we learn from it? How we can get better, okay? Next time. Okay. Case study number 2. So this was one of my clients who was actually in a different industry, which is home services. So installation, kind of like a contractor. Okay. And when she came to me to coach with me, she was in the stage of their business of sort of stagnation and having a setback. So she was growing her business, but at the same time, working 2 part-time jobs, trying to fill the gaps in income and to support her business. But what the setback was is that the major part of the installation, so they were installing like a decorative things in people's houses. So the major part of that installation was recalled by the manufacturer for safety reasons. And she had to go back, and it was like, I think almost 100 installations, 100 projects that she's done with those parts the year prior. So she had to send her crews to go back and replace that. But if you think about it, that can be a huge challenge on the business because yes, the manufacturer provided the parts, and yes, they reimbursed her certain amount for technicians' time to go and do that, but they calculated that amount based on like a knowledgeable person who knew how to install it and so on. But for her, when she had new crew and she was expanding, so she had new people who didn't know how to install it. It was taking them longer, right? They were learning the skills. So it was taking them longer than what she was being reimbursed for. Therefore, she had to cover that difference and pay her team out of her own pocket. And at the same time, she couldn't be installing new projects that would actually make her money, right? So it was a big setback for her. However, because we created strategy, we narrowed down to, okay, this is what we're going to focus on. So we focus on definitely selling, right? Not stopping selling, but selling for the future, the projects for the future, growing her team in preparation for those projects, but also using the RICO as a training ground for her team. And then developing, standard operating procedures and sort of, again, preparing her business structure for that growth. So what she ended up the year with, she actually became the best installer in North America, and the best meaning not only quality, but the amount of new installs she did. She actually doubled, I think, the new projects, not the RICO. She did the RICO, but the new projects she sold and installed that year. She quit part-time job, and of course, she has built the team that then became just better and better, and is serving as that foundation for her future growth. Okay, so now let's talk about simple business structure. So what business structure is, it consists of these 3 things. People in your business, might be just you, but it might be people who help you, the outsourced contractors if you have, your employees, whatever that means. Processes, so processes that allow you to streamline, keep the quality of the services at the highest level, that eliminate unnecessary communication, that allows the clients to feel safe, they know what's coming next and so on. And then systems and tools that you use, your employees use to, execute the strategy, serve your clients and so on. So you want that sort of circle, that system to be highly performing, to be as streamlined as possible, for people to be at the highest skill set and capacity possible and you can afford in your business. The process is also simplifying things, eliminating a bunch of unnecessary back and forth and so on, and systems and tools, automating and making it easy for your employees or yourself to use your brain to the things that currently AI or machines or whatever computers or other apps cannot do, because that's where you add the most value, right? That's how you will grow your business the fastest. So the way you want to set up the structures, you always want to have some room to grow into, right? So you always want to be able to take on clients as they come and as your growth strategy, your marketing and sales is working, right? You want to avoid being in a position where you have to say no to clients forever, right? Or where you're struggling to onboard them and to take them on. So you say yes to them, but then you're struggling to deliver on time and up to whatever standards you set, right? Now, that requires a balance between future and current needs. So what I'm not saying is that investing in tools and resources in your business to the extent where you could not change anything for 10 years, right? Because that's not necessarily sound business decisions and freezing money, maybe in some technology or whatever. You want to balance between, okay, well, if I doubled my business this year, can I operate with my current systems and my process and people? And if the question is yes, great. If the question is no, then you want to start thinking, okay, well, what do I need to be thinking about, or when would I need to make changes or add resources in order for that transition to be smooth? Okay. The last piece is continuous improvement. Continuous improvement, it's all about always knowing that we can do things better. Again, it doesn't mean you're doing things wrong right now or things are being wrong right now, but think about it. The more I do something, the more experience I have. So continuous improvement allows you to learn from that experience and do things even better, much faster than if you didn't do it. Okay. So how to illustrate that is that if I have a strategy, meaning I made some logical, strategic decisions about how am I going to win, how am I going to grow my business, and I start implementing it, I take time throughout the year to pause and assess the results and see what I can improve, rather than going the whole year and then say, oh, I didn't meet my goal. But it's because strategy didn't work. I was perfect. My delivery or execution was perfect. It's strategy that was wrong. What if, as we talked, when you look at the process of, going from here to the results, and there is a process to it, very often the strategies we come up with are actually great ideas. It's just our learning curve to deliver that, to create that results, is what sometimes makes us think the strategy doesn't work. And without continuous improvement, what can happen is business owners abandon a sound strategy because think, oh, that's recipe doesn't work, not my execution of it, and start chasing the next shiny object. Start chasing the next fad that's out there, okay? When you have continuous improvement, you can actually very strategically assess what's working, what's not working, what can we improve? And then you improve a little thing and you implement, and then you get better results. And then you see, oh, actually what I thought could work is working. I'm just getting better at implementation, right? And then you assess and learn again and you implement. And it doesn't mean that you always keep 100% of ideas that you had in the strategy. You can tweak those things, but you don't have to abandon everything because of that, okay? So now, art of simplifying. So having a mindset of, and I couldn't come up with one word, so that's why I came up with art of simplifying, but having trying to do everything and thinking in simple terms. How can I keep things as simple as humanly possible? Of course, in relation to where I am in my business, how big is my business, right? So simple for a starting business or solopreneur will look different than simple for a business with 50 or 100 employees or even 10, right? That has more clients, more moving parts. But if you compare like a traditional sort of hustle mindset to simple art of simple modern pro SEO mindset, here's the difference. Growth means more work, more hours, more hassle. So either I go there or I actually don't. So I'm holding myself back because I think I'll have to work more and I don't want to pay the price. Whereas in modern SEO, they think, okay, growth means actually keep focusing on only on important things and doing them better. Therefore, less is more. So growth does not mean working more and harder and whatever, but keeping things simpler. And through that growth, I have more resources. Therefore, I can actually even enjoy my life more. Okay. Traditional mindset is more, okay, small changes, one makes a difference. I don't have time for them. What's the point, right? If it's such small, like I'm so busy, I'm dealing with so many important things that I don't have time for those things. And then the big change, they delay them because it's too hard, too hard to do. So very often, like hustle mindset delays the changes that are required for the business to keep growing properly. And then they do it only when it's almost like they're forced to it. And then the change is rushed and then it doesn't go well, or there's way more challenges. It takes way longer. Again, it's taxing on everybody and so on. As opposed to when you understand the art of keeping simple, when you understand, the need for productivity and so on, you start you adopt the continuous improvements, because small improvements means simple improvements. And you understand that they can compound and therefore allow you to see the bigger changes that might be occasionally required as your business scales ahead of time. They gives you that you give yourself enough leeway. You can be more strategic, and therefore you keep it simpler, easier on everybody, right? And they can support your business and they're not rushed, they're thought through. In a traditional hustle mindset, I need to control everything. Everything is complex. Structure gets, too much. The offers, there's no processes because I always keep going. I never have time to sort of declutter. I never have time to pause. I never have time to simplify. With the art of simplifying mindset, I understand that I need to create that time, that I need to always discern what's the most important and what's not. And when I keep the most important, at some point as my business grows, I might not be able to do everything alone. So I need to delegate, but I always simplify first before I delegate, before I automate, before I do any of that. Okay. Case study number 3. So this is a client of mine who has like a medical practice. It's a private practice. And when he came to me working late nights, and he's actually, I recorded a podcast with him that's coming up this Friday. So you'll get to hear his story a little bit more in detail. But he actually has over 20 years of experience in practice. I thought it was 15. So you would think that, a practitioner and at the same time business owner, because it's a private practice, it's not funded, at least here in Canada, by the government. It's, if anything, it's like a private insurance or people pay, right? So it's a little bit of a business too, that they tried it all, that whatever they've tried, it's either worked or didn't. There's nothing new they can adopt. And also, when you think of like a private practice, it's a physical location, right? So there is a limit just circumstantially to how far people will travel to see a specialist, right? You're not necessarily going to travel 200 miles to see a specialist. You're trying to find something local. And also the capacity of the capacity of the building, right? The capacity of the practice, that at some point you might outgrow the capacity of the space and you might need to change the space. So sometimes people think like, oh, I'm at capacity. I can't, unless I change the space, I can't grow. But what we did with Andrew, my client, first we created not only business strategy, but also marketing and sales strategy. Now we stuck with, he was limited to what he could do because there are certain regulations, and that's what it is with certain professions that are regulated either by the college of their profession or by, the state, the province, the country, whatever that is. So you need to stay within that. So that's what we did. And that was simple enough that they could be consistent, right? They can implement it and be consistent. And then we really focused on continuous improvement, on looking at the patient journey and the back-end processes or anything else that already had worked for him. And clearly he had practice that was, successful with patients coming. And yet we still managed, right? He still grew his practice. So what happened is that patients and revenue growth without changing capacity, without changing any per se resources grew up to, I think it was 30 to 40%. And it stayed there. So it wasn't just like 1 month or maybe season and so on. It actually stayed there, right? We also eliminated him working very late at night because usually that was his way to do the paperwork. So he would see the patients throughout the day and then, sending some information to other practitioners or to insurance and so on. That would always happen very late at night for him. And then now he's at a point where it's okay, there's enough demand that he could expand the staff to grow a little bit of capacity, right? His structure is ready to now expand even more to then accommodate the demand that he has, because there's only so much, I guess, patients want to wait to see a specialist. Okay, so this is what we've covered so far. We talked about your current situation, the business that we really all want, and some misconceptions that many business owners have about getting there. We talked about the how. So we talked about 5 scaling foundations, which one is you being the CEO and really driver of the scaling. 2, having a strategy for your business before you take any action. 3, having excellent and effective execution, meaning the actions once they implement the strategy. Then also, as you act, don't forget about building the structure of your business simple and adequate to accommodate that growth. And then adopting that culture and mindset of continuous improvement in a simple way, right? So we talked about the 3 mindset, proactive mindset, growth mindset, and kind of art of simplifying. And then I shared with you some examples just for you to see how this all works together in real life. Okay, so the question you might have is that sounds great, Maggie, but I don't think I can do this. Or will this work for me given my industry, where I am in my business, or how busy I am, or what I can do, what I cannot do, whatever the case might be? And I say, yes, you can. And yes, it does. Those foundations truly work. They've proven and tested not only with my clients, but with many other companies that just adopt them in this format or any other way, right? It works. What's important is to an extent in order, meaning don't take actions without having a strategy, right? Don't create a strategy, especially when you want to up level with your current same perspective, right? Seek other perspectives, seek other ways. Like, okay, what I've created right now with my current perspective created my results right now. And if I'm stagnated and there's partial things that I'm not happy with, they're not working because I'm, not growing, I stagnated, or I'm actually going down with my income, or, I'm growing, but not in a way that I like. Therefore, I got to pause and change my perspective. And it needs to start there before I decide on the strategy, right? I need to find things that I agree with. Or like, okay, that kind of makes sense. So do I want to adopt it? If I adopt it, how my strategy would look from that, right? And then once I have a strategy, then I create like an execution plan. I think about my structure and then keep going. And through that, I have continuous improvement as I do, right? So there's certain order to it, okay? Now, step-by-step implementation, what I say is like it works when you take one step at a time, when you keep things simple and think about how, okay, now that I have this strategy, how do I break it down to achievable, actionable steps? Because when you just stay at a strategy, that can be very easy, overwhelming, or allowing your brain to think that you can do it all in 1 month or 1 week or one coaching session, right? It's a process. And when you take it step by step, just having belief that it will work and not quitting, right? Having the patience to continue. And I will give you like the best example actually from coaching my client, Andrew, where, we evaluated his business on a regular basis, right? So we found certain improvements, we implemented them. And after some time, just like I showed you, we paused and evaluated. And there was 1 month when he thought that was a few months in our coaching, we were just like, Maggie, I don't think you will come up with any ideas. Like we've done so many improvements. And I said, well, let's just see, right? Let's just go through our process and let's just see. And long and behold, he actually came up with 2 or 3 amazing things that we never thought of before. And it's because when you do that, your business is like layers of the onion. You can't see the inside until you peel layer by layer, layer by layer. So that's the power of being patient, continuing, and really adopting these foundations and these philosophies. Okay. So, how to work with me. And I want to encourage you to take this work deeper, to implement it. And of course, the easiest way is with the coach, right? Because as a coach, I will see things that you don't see. I will walk you through step by step. We work together for 6 months, right? So there we have plenty of time, and every session is very powerful week to week to not only make that works, but amplify it, right? Just like, again, pro athletes, they have coaches guiding them through their training, pointing things out, seeing things that they cannot see, and therefore they achieve the results so much faster, right? So when we work one-on-one, what happens is we create sort of like a balanced vision plan, which is like, where do I see my business and my life in the next 2-3 years? And from there, from what you really want, we derive your unique growth strategy. We think about the simple structure your business needs to have. Is there anything changes it requires now or any changes later? And then we have that implementation plan and start excellent execution, right? And that happens relatively fast. It doesn't take long, because then what do we do for the majority of the time is actually I support you in the implementation step by step while helping you hone whatever skills you need, adopting the mindset you need to adopt, tweak, improve, and then keep going and compounding these results, okay? So the investment in the one-on-one is $6,000. What it includes is 26 weekly one-on-one sessions, 45 minutes. You also have access to my business skill learning portal, which is some videos that I give my clients to. They're very short and simple, but they elevate your business knowledge in certain areas, especially if we're working on that specific area. They allow you to then come to the session and make better decisions. We have just a higher level conversation. I also offer in between sessions, email and message support, meaning, I never want my clients to like not be able to do anything or wait saying like, I need Maggie's advice. And, we just had a session yesterday. So if there's something that cannot wait to the next session, you can email me a message and I'll respond. Now, I don't respond like instantly, but within 48 hours, you'll get a response from me. And then I offer journals. Most of you have seen them, which allows you to be just more effective and more focused as the leader of your business. So I train you on that. And then there's some swag with it. Okay. Now, what I want to say is that to explore coaching with me, or even to get this knowledge that you've gained today to the next level and get some additional individual feedback, I want to invite you to a free consultation. Whether you are ready to coach, whether you're just thinking or you have some questions and you don't know, I still encourage you to just talk to me. Okay. Now you can, here's the link. Now I don't need you to you don't need to write it down. You have an email in your inbox with the link, but as usual, I'll share it here as well. So during that session, which is actually longer than a regular coaching call, I get to ask you a number of questions and really gain clarity on where your business is right now. What are some main root causes that are maybe creating challenges you're experiencing? I will tell you about what they are. I'll tell you how you can fix them and what are the 3 key areas that you need to focus on to take your business to the next level, right? Because that session really sets the foundation for us coaching together if you choose to do so. And then if not, you can always take that information and use it for your future. Okay. So that's the link. You just click on it, pick the best time and date that works for you. And I'm happy to talk to you, to give you some individualized advice, answer any questions you might have. Okay. So then what I wanted to share, one more thing, is one more case study with a client in financial industry. Okay, so what I want to always to show you through those case studies is that, again, these foundations work in any industry. Okay, they transcend the particularities of business because they focus on the basis of all businesses. Okay, it's kind of like, if you think about house, and I don't know if that's the best analogy because I just thought about it in this moment, but every house needs a ground to sit on. No matter what that house is, what country, what climate, and so on, it needs a ground to sit on. We haven't figured out yet how to create floating houses, right, on Earth. They have ground to sit on. So this is what it is, okay? What I'm teaching you today is that ground that any business sits on. That's why it works for any business. So again, client of mine, financial services, she came to me when she kind of plateaued at a certain level in her business, and she wasn't sure how to go about it. She tried a few things, they weren't really working for her. And what she started also noticing is that she stopped kind of loving her business. She started being a bit resentful. She slid down on her personal, things that she wanted to do. So she was starting to be not really happy in her personal life. And that's the last thing you want, is get to the point where you don't love your business, your personal life doesn't feel good. And it's kind of, it's not a great place to be. Anyhow, we created a strategy, all those things that I taught you about. This is what we did. And then in less than 6 months, she doubled actually the new business she started bringing in. So in financial services industry, it's all about new business, right? Because financial planners or advisors, they have like current clients, and yes, they get some commission from the services, but it's not as high once the client becomes like, many years type of client. So it's all about the focus about bringing new business. And we started coaching together at the end of Q1. So by the end of Q2, she already doubled new business to what she brought in Q1. Same in Q3, and her Q4 will be even better. She started taking more time off, right? Especially in the summer, she wasn't used to. So she started having her schedule more flexible, taking some time off, incorporated more self-care, the things that she always wanted to do and couldn't create time or find time for, or whatever, and started truly enjoying her business back again and life more. And that's powerful. And sometimes we underestimate the importance of that. And truly, the more positive we are, the more happy we are. Doesn't mean it's always 100%, but like overall, when you zoom out, the actually better you function in your business, the better results, the easier you feel everything goes, the better results you get, because through those feelings, through operating like that, again, you gain access to better problem solving, to better strategic thinking, to more creativity that allows you to stand out, be innovative, attract better clients, all those things. So, can you do this? Yes, you can. I truly believe anybody can. I invite you to schedule a session with me, free, and have a chat of how it would look like for you. Okay. And then if you have any questions, now is the time. So feel free to type them up. I left, as you can see, a lot of time for questions. We don't need to take all of the time, but if you have any questions, you can put them either in the comments or in the Q&A. You can be anonymous about it. It's up to you. Just go about and ask questions. And I will answer some questions that I get very often, but I'm happy to answer. What I wanted to say, the questions that I sometimes get about one-on-one is like, okay, when are the calls? Am I able to, am I losing the calls when, I'm sick or things come up? So usually what we do is that we set up a call that works best for both of us. We pick a time and date that works best. And as long as you give me, so let's say something comes up or you're traveling, sometimes I travel, you're on vacation, whatever there is, as long as we have certain notice, we just reschedule the call, right? So you never lose the call. We just reschedule it, whether it's another week or sometimes we double the next call, because what I find when we dive deep into certain aspects of your business, sometimes actually having an hour and a half or a little bit longer is serving the best the client. So we use those opportunities to do that. So as long as you not show up to the call and don't give me notice, you don't lose it. Okay. Okay, Carrie, great reminder. Yes, you work hard to close out this year. That's awesome. I'm glad hopefully it will help you to close out strong and feel amazing about it and not exhausted or tired. That's great. Okay. And then, are you, sometimes I get questions is, am I ready for it? What if I've never had a business coach before? I can tell you that my clients, it's 50-50. 50% of them come to me and they've already had a coach before, some sort of coach, not always a business coach, but some sort of coach. So they know what to expect and they know exactly how our work will be, or they kind of, can imagine that. And some of the clients, they've never had a coach before. And you are ready when you decide you're ready. Truly, that's all it takes. It's a decision. I'm ready. I'm open to, again, expand my perspective, learning something new, trying something new. It doesn't mean that, working with me, I'll get you to stop doing everything you're doing now, because that wouldn't even make sense, right? I'm sure a lot of things that you're doing are good and they're working. So just either tweaking them or organizing them in a different way or adding some small things will amplify the results you get. Very often when I even in the free consultation, there is some sort of low-hanging fruit that as a coach, I will always see that my clients cannot see because they're just too close to not even the problem, but they're too close in the weeds, kind of like seeing the next street. They're not zooming out to see from a certain zoomed out perspective. So there's always a few things that can be implemented fast, short, easily, that create some great results. And then once that's done, then it's more about that farming and continuous improvement. And if anything, tweaking things, positioning them differently, changing a bit of structure that then create all the difference. Okay, so you are ready when you decide whether you've had a coach before or not, no matter where you are in your business in terms of growth, you can benefit from. Okay. Any other questions? Are there any questions? Another question is say, oh, what if I don't have time for the coaching goals? So the one thing I want to say, first of all, when you want to create time, you're able to do it. You're here in the session or you're going to watch it. So you're creating a bit of time. And that time when I treat that time, how my clients treat that time, is your CEO time. This is especially when you're not doing it at all right now in your business. This is the time that we spend together where we zoom out, when we get out of the weeds and leave the day to day on the side, unless there's something urgent that you want to address and talk to me. We do that sometimes for 5 minutes. I help my clients solve like an urgent problem. And then we set that aside and we zoom out and we use that time thinking strategically about their business, short term and long term. And I always say, if you don't have time to do that, you don't have time to grow. You don't have time to scale your business. It's imperative. And it's sometimes easier to do it when you know you're meeting with somebody. And very often when my clients start with that and then they realize the power of it, and then they create even more time to spend either on their own, spending that strategic time with their business or with their teams, if they have teams, whatever, or however it looks like for them. Okay. What else? Why should I join now, or should I join now? Should I wait? Of course, it's always individual answer, but I'm of an opinion, why wait, right? Especially if you're in a situation where you're plateauing, when you're not growing, or where how you're growing is not really the way you want to grow, when you feel exhausted and tired, or, again, you're not making enough money. Why would you wait and continue that path when you can change it now, today? It's just a decision to join. Sometimes people say, well, I have this going on and that, and then it's vacation, or then it's holiday, so on. But the thing about running a business is life will always happen, right? Running a business happens in your life. So learning how to run your business while other things happen, because it's never going to be just perfect daisies and butterflies. It's also a skill. Right? So how do I run my business when there's holidays, when there's vacation, when this is happening and the wedding and sometimes things that are not pleasant, right? How do I do that? That's also a skill. Okay. Just the same, we would, if you had a job and you decided, you would show up to the job even when, unless you take vacation, so on happens. So it's the same with your business. Right? So there's really hardly ever a good reason to why not start now, especially when the current situation is not exactly what you want. Okay. All right. So there's no more questions. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate you spending time with me. Always a pleasure to teach, help you shift your perspective. As I say, always invite you for a free consultation as a first step to explore, or to even take what I taught you today, to the next level, to work one step further and sort of adapt it and talk about in the context of your business and your current situation. So that is always very powerful. That session is very, you'll get a lot of value out of it, as much value, if not even more, because it will be targeted to where you are from. And so even more value than this masterclass. So I invite you to do that. And outside of that, wishing you a fantastic rest of your week. And thank you for coming. Bye, everybody.